I want to connect with the true self and also share light and might, peace, love with everyone. It is not that I sit for half an hour to give Sakash, but Sakash can also be given just with few thoughts. So now, with this, my eternal form, I'm completely detached beyond the body and think of everyone as a soul. Create the thought that all souls are children of God. Everyone is point of light, and as souls, we are all brothers. We are on journey of life, and while on journey, we become co-travelers. So to give cooperation, support in whatever way is needed, I share with my co-travelers. And that one support is in the subtle form, creating feelings of God's love, so that the energy of God's love helps soul to remove the obstacles and move with the energy of peace. Help the soul to have lightness so that soul can continue to move forward. So it is the thought which is serving. Even use the word giving Sakash, but actually, as much your thought is full, that is, battery is fully charged with love and peace, it will travel very far, and it will work immediately. So I have to make every thought full of every quality and every power. And this will help to share that, send out to any soul for anything. It will work as a sakash. Whosoever needs sakash will be able to receive it. And I value my thoughts, not waste any, but make every thought very, very powerful. So we take drishti from Baba to charge my battery so that I can serve.
Om Shanti, welcome to Avyakti Parivar. Today is day third, pilgrimage of remembrance. Be a great donor. Now we'll be listening from Mohini Didi.
Brahma Baba became angel, and we also have to become angels. And angelic really means to be double light. So purity makes us light. And then it is from purity, intellect becomes very subtle because when the past karmic accounts are settled and we keep our mind pure in the sense of that if there are any wasteful thoughts, that means there is some kind of influence of any of the vice. Of course, body consciousness is there. It could be arrogance. It could be some kind of attachment that waste thoughts come. Not only that, but if we hold anything from past about someone, about a situation, or so that impurity brings heaviness. So our sparkle of becoming angel reduces. So as much we maintain our attitude, our awareness, our thoughts very, very pure, Mm. Not allow any impurity, as I said, then we are on journey to become very subtle and angelic. Mm. So it's really deeply connected with purity. Mm. There is a saying which Baba reminds us that when you are ascending in your efforts, then others also benefit from it. So what is ascending here again? Ascending here also is our level of purity. So each one of us at present time, as we are making efforts, just pay attention not to carry anything from situations, because very subtly we don't let go, we don't forget, we don't forgive, and also appreciate everyone's part in drama. That is, I respect everyone's part. Everyone has a different part to play in drama. Mm. So I appreciate and say, well, everyone is playing one's own part, which is very, very important. Otherwise, when there is intellect is very subtle and pure. So whatever happens according to drama, I take benefit. Mm. Let's say when we were practicing about Sakash, or even now while talking, there could be little technical problem in between. So you can't see me or hear me or whatever reason. So we should feel happy because you got the time now to go in silence, to have reflection, what you heard, to go in depth of that, but not like, oh, what happened? Why this is happening? I learned this from Dadi Janki, that whatever is happening, sometimes it does happen, internet or sometimes a computer, sometimes some reason, when there is a pause, there is a gap for a few minutes. So what I do? Oh, I can start reflecting, I can go in silence, and so I use every moment instead of having thoughts. Oh, why it stopped? It shouldn't have stopped. There must be some reason, like a lot of thoughts can start coming. Mm. But I remember sitting with Dadi Janki once in a program. Lot of things happen at the background, right? At the back of the stage. Mm. And she will say, we have audience in front of us. So even like there was a new place and mic was not working. Mm. But both of us maintain like as if we are in silence. We didn't even make it aware mic is not working or looking at people why mic is not working. Because as soon as it was not working, people were trying their best. And if we become more aware, then they get little more confused and nervous. Oh, Dadi is there and things not working out. So we maintain such silence and loveful feelings as whole audience just go into that experience. This is what I learned with Dadi Janki, that what is our duty at this time we should do, not think of what others are doing, why not doing right, or everyone is trying their best, but sometimes technical problems can happen, right? Or sometimes new places, like we do program in hotel. So staff is different, everything is different. But what I am supposed to do? And I really like it because whenever there is a pause, because of whatever reason, I just go in silence or still think about what we are sharing at this time. Mm. So, as I'm saying that when there is purity, you never go into one of the, weakness we say, or some things which hurt people is our criticism. Mhm. We should never point out or criticize anyone for anything because it becomes sanskar and we are not aware because it hurts also others. It causes sorrow. Or, you know, I think that best at that time, one thing is how I deal with it, other is I shouldn't have any of that sanskar. Mm. Because then it's like lack of self-respect, self-trust, that there is ego. So when you are not holding, there is purity, that there is always love, always kind of appreciation, which can increase enthusiasm, create more harmony in the family, in the team. And whatever is not right or what, we can always discuss about it with love to make it right, not to make someone feel this is you're not right. Mm. And this is the biggest lesson I learned from Dadi. What are the reasons why it happened? Long story. Let's see how we can mend it, how we can put it together in a right way. Mm. And it's a very interesting and loveful way. And if you have pure thought, it could change. Person can change, situation can change, and it will become positive. So purity helps us start, like our intellect is very pure, is very clean, is very subtle. And then it's easy for intellect to be with Baba, to connect. Even as I said, that when every thought has enough capacity, it can reach anywhere to work as a Sakash, work as Sakash. This is what I've experienced. As I said, you don't need half an hour yoga for Sakash. Even with each thought, you can give Sakash. If that thought is very powerful. So purity, mm, pure intellect, purity in our heart, pure mind has subtlety. And that's really kind of angelic, because angelic in the sense of flying. Mm. Nothing should be such which is heavy for me or for someone else. Our Baba, our Mama, our Dadis were very sweet, very gentle, mm, very loving, very loving. And it's not that I love this one, I don't love other one. Love for everyone. So purity also brings this quality of love, Baba's love for everyone. I think I had shared, but that is, even if someone make any mistake, they will give so much love that there is realization in that soul, but not that soul, goes far and feel bad or there is sorrow. That means we can, through love, power of purity, pure thought, bring the transformation in myself, in others, even in situations. And now is the time really to create that sanskar. Because if we are going to golden age, there's only love there, right? There's no anger, no force, but there is only love. So we should experiment now and make those as our natural sanskars. Because today's topic is how to be angelic. Mm. So how to be subtle So my subtle intellect and mind means completely pure. No past, no heaviness, nothing holding for anything. This moment, yes, I'm happy, I'm with Baba. My love for everyone, every moment should be like that. So now we will have conversation about angelic state. Om Shanti.
Did you all experience your beautiful angelic form? Did you experience Baba opening his arms and dearly waiting for us? It's the land of angels. Every Saturday, we celebrate our Subtle Region Day. Welcome to Subtle Region. Oh, don't forget to bring a picture of an angel during our angelic dance.
Om Shanti, welcome to Awake the Journey. So, just now we will be having our guest who will be interviewing Didi. But before that, let's see our homework for tomorrow.
Let's all sit on our immortal throne and experience this moment. I, the soul, am a master who has a right to the kingdom.
Om Shanti. Yes, I, the master, have a right to the kingdom. Sometimes Baba said, only my children. Who else will come and rule the kingdom, right? It's our right. We are the one in every kalpa. Okay, so this will be our awareness for tomorrow. And now let's see who is our guest today. Sister Judy from Calgary, Canada. Heart to heart chit chat interview with Sister Judy to Didi. Okay, welcome, Sister Judy.
Om Shanti, warm greetings, Mohini Didi, and everyone. I'm sending a very warm wave of love from Canada. I hope you feel it. Usually it's a cold wave that comes from the north, but we're sending love from Canada, and I hope you're receiving that wave. This is very special. I feel like I'm on the production set of Avyakti Parva. I feel like I'm there. But this is really lovely to be able to have the opportunity to be engaged in this interview. I think it's so relevant right now, such a call of the time. And when Didi has been sharing over the weeks, especially about becoming subtle, as happened today, I was remembering quite a bit a scene in Peace Village where it was a welcome ceremony and the introductions were organized around our spiritual birth. So every Brahmin was going to become present in the gathering according to when their spiritual birth happened. But the calendar we were using wasn't the usual calendar of years. It was actually the calendar of when each ancestor soul became Avyakt. So, for example, those who came in the years following when Century Didi became Avyakt become present in the gathering now. And the idea was that when these souls who already had achieved such a subtle stage, when they took a subtle form, it unleashed an unlimited amount of benevolent power that could awaken Brahmins waiting to be awakened. And it stayed with me so much, this connection of us taking that subtlety, becoming subtle in our stage, and how much more Baba can do through us through that angelic or subtle stage. And it doesn't even require the subtle form. I don't need to become a resident of the subtle region, but just taking that subtle stage, moving, doing the effort to work into that subtle stage, such that Baba can do so much more through me, so much more power and benevolence. So I wondered if we could start the conversation there, that connection between I becoming more subtle and what Baba can do with me. And I have to, before you answer, Dee, I have to say, I think we've all been experiencing that through you. You have been like a spiritual marathon. I think we're feeling that Baba and the ancestor souls are doing so much through you. You have that subtlety. So maybe just start with that connection between having that subtle stage and what Bap Dada can achieve through such a soul.
Yeah, very, very interesting question. And I think we all are aware, as Dadi Janki always used to mention, that every instrument of Baba is like powerhouse. And that means with many, many souls are connected with the instruments. So once she was mentioning that if instrument as some kind of whatever settling is happen internally or spiritually, then it will be blackout, she used to say, to realize that how much as instruments we have to maintain love for Baba, we have to keep our stage of unshakable faith, we have to have harmony, we have to have love amongst ourselves. And so definitely, whether it is ancestor souls or we as instruments, each one of us have effect on the rays of the stage of many, many. So always remind yourself as instrument that I have to keep ascending and I have to keep moving forward. Because one of the things we should remember that what I look at Dadis and learn was what is my next step while making efforts? What is my next step? And in that, it could be whether it's your own personal efforts, whether it could be what should be my responses to different situations, or it could be creating very loveful harmony in the family, being stay together. So I think that every one of us, ancestor souls, we as instruments, we do create a kind of wave. And it could be like it's about to come and I am catching it, and then I become instrument to continue with that. Because this question always arises, that is it drama? It has to happen. That's why I'm thinking, or is it because I'm thinking it's happening in drama? And really, when that alignment is understood, as you said, call of time, alignment is understood, that I'm getting these thoughts. Hmm. So that means, according to drama, this has to happen. That means, like we look at Brahma Baba, when we hear that he was going through some internal dialogue and feeling some kind of pull, start seeking and reading more spiritual books. So there was a call, but then otherwise, other way also, what he was doing was also seen as bringing change in so many others. So there are many, many incognito energies or power. Drama, Baba says, is powerful. Baba is powerful. My fortune or my part and everyone's part. So these things are not visible, right? This is something very subtle, invisible happening. But if we have subtle intellect and if we are ascending, then we are able to take those signals somewhere, that alignment start happening and everything becomes easy. But always remember that our dadis, through their ascending degrees, inspired us, and we also, as our ascending degrees, have to create that energy where everyone is full of enthusiasm, their love for God increases, right? So we all have not only responsibility, but Baba helps us also to do that, and our ancestor souls.
Beautiful. So, adding on to that, you mentioned there's a lot of invisible pulls happening, and maybe because you're sharing so much these days about ancestor souls and Aviact. I remember at Amrit Vela this morning, really felt the ancestor souls, Bapdada, the ancestor souls trying to pull into their stage. So there's these beautiful pulls, subtle pulls to ascend. But last night you also mentioned a little bit about fear. There's also invisible pulls in a different direction. And having that subtle intellect to not be affected by some of those other pulls, and how to take care of the self at this time so that the ascending subtle pulls are what I'm really being affected by, and not any of these other invisible or subtle influences at this time.
I think that we have to pay attention on our efforts. One is definitely for me, whenever I feel not pull, but some kind of energy, subtle energy is moving towards me in the sense of, very, very, very subtle way, not feeling very happy or not feeling very light. I immediately know that I have to just really be in Baba's remembrance so that it doesn't affect me. That is one thing. But also, one has to constantly observe that what kind of weaknesses are in me, which could create, you know, kind of, it could be influenced very easily from outside atmosphere. Let's say There are all of us, like we want to see fairness or justice or peace or honesty, but that's out of dictionary, right? Yes, a lot of people are. I'm not saying, but also there is lot of frauds, lot of dishonesty, lot of many such things are happening. But if I have that, even in a subtle way, a sanskar, then one day it can explode because of influence from that energy which is very active in the outside world. So I took it from Baba Murli and also Baba's subtle signal that keeps looking at yourself, that which subtle sanskar suddenly erupts, becomes like volcanic. In a way, then it's your through drishti you express, your words you say things. So we have to take care of our those kinds of weaknesses, or suddenly you get frustrated about something and then you take out that frustration on others, or someone has any habit, any kind of subtle these weak sanskars, they have to be removed. But also one of the immediate really help is if you can be just in Baba's remembrance, so that let it pass and you again feel very well, you feel fearless, you are strong. Because there is always like you are doing an elevated task. Baba says success is guaranteed. But in a very subtle way, this fear is, oh, maybe this could happen, or maybe obstacles can come. This is so common with two energies. One is, I know success will be there, but then in very, very deep subconscious mind, there is fear of obstacles or fear of, very subtle. So that is why Baba had been saying that have remembrance, have remembrance while doing every action, because it's a transition happening, no, from darkness to light. So once in a while, the darkness, the patches of darkness, or our sanskars can emerge and influence, and to remain, continuously consistent and be in a stable state. Only way really is to immediately replace that energy by bringing Baba in one relationship or with one power or as Almighty, so that you overcome. As a cycle is moving, on one side there is darkness and then moving towards dawn, but then darkness is quite strong, right? So we also have to pay attention that it shouldn't happen that the shadow of that darkness of any kind of energy of vices shouldn't influence my mind, because that is where I need to be, not only ascending but in the angelic stage. So that means I am aware of it, but still I am through remembrance passing through that, so it doesn't affect me in any way. So it's a subtle kind of feeling you get, and then you remember Baba and or play some Baba songs, take some remedy immediately, so you are not reacting to that situation or getting affected by that situation or energy. I'm saying subtle energy, because energies are very subtle, isn't it? So to protect myself through remembrance of Baba, and of course making good efforts of not allowing or transforming the weak sanskars into very powerful, very pure sanskars.
Your sharing is reminding me of an image that came into my mind today, because it feels like one of the things in the Murli this week is very subtle checking of the self. The look in the mirror of your heart. And the image that was coming, Baba talks about moving from one shore to the other shore. And when I push off one shore, the old world, the old ways, for a while I can see the shore I'm moving away from. And it gives me a reference. I know I'm going in the right direction because I'm getting further from that shore. But there comes a point when the traveler is just in the middle of the ocean and they can't see one shore or the other shore. There's no clear reference points. And in the old days, the travelers had to use subtle means to navigate. And absolutely, the North Star, remembrance of Baba, is everything. But the subtle checking, I feel, in amidst this ocean of transformation where I may not be quite sure where I am I going in the right direction? We use the North Star, we use Star, that love for Baba, absolutely. But I particularly was interested in the subtle checking in terms of worthiness. And I know we've been getting swamans every evening, but this, how, if you will, unworthiness can really get us very confused.
Mhm.
And maybe that worthiness that only God can really give can get us back on track. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship between that subtle checking and worthiness?
I think that, we are always, Baba encourages, and we are in the gathering, no? We are in company, we are in family. So, as you said, when you are in the middle of the whatever channel or river or ocean you are crossing, you're not seeing any shore. So that means you are not sure, like what is going on and where I am going. There could be possibility of doubt and all that. So I feel that is why I always feel that every Brahmin has to be self-supporting when it comes to efforts. But also we all need company, with other Brahmins in the family. And that's why Baba has given us family. Because when you are in family, then it's like you are able to, kind of look at yourself and take courage from others or get inspiration from others. So worthiness is something where this nature of always, prepare yourself. That means not wait for this thing can happen, that will happen, but just keep making efforts, or any specialties you have, keep using them into service. So all the time, like improvement and the progress, transformation, and I think that this nature of not getting stuck or stagnant, but keep moving forward little by little, maybe, but I am improved and I could see my transformation and I am getting better in what I am doing, whether it is karma yoga or relationships. So that is where actually that self worth, self respect, and the self worth keep increasing. And because of that, you know that you are moving in the right direction. So transformation, improvement, and keep using whatever specialties you have. So elevated actions are being accumulated.
Take a moment of remembrance. Didi just talked about the family in terms of this ocean of transformation. And a couple of days ago, I received an extremely sweet note, an email from one of the very special young adults who helps to prepare videos for these daily productions. And it just came out of the blue. And it was such a sweet note of appreciation. And it really felt like a blessing. It really touched me. It wasn't just the words, it was the subtle vibrations. They were so sincere and so sweet. And I really was thinking about, I know it was mentioned last night, how we subtly support each other. Baba has said the language of angels is the eyes, is the feelings, and the thoughts. But I also think we have this language of blessings. And while I have the chance, sharing those blessings with Didi, I've been deeply touched of how you have been present every single night for 6 months, which is remarkable. If there was a spiritual Olympics, you would be a marathon runner. And it's not just that you're present, but with such quality. And yes, godly power, support of ancestors, but also your love. It's a very powerful recipe. And I also want to share blessings with the Avyakti Parava production team, who I'm pretty positive don't sleep anymore. Absolutely remarkable. And I also am pulled to give blessings to the translators, who I'm so sorry I've been speaking too fast, but I think you have a special place in Baba's heart in unifying the family. But this idea of the language of blessings and subtle support for each other, I feel that a lot from Daddy Gulzar and the stage she's in, which feels very subtle. I feel a lot of support from her. I feel a lot of support coming from Mohini Didi, not just through words, but through that stage. So can you speak a little bit? There's blessings, of course, and appreciation, but giving subtle support for each other, this activity between angels, yes, Sakash, support to the world, but how do we cooperate and give subtle support to each other?
I think that true love, from our honest heart, true love for everyone, not love as, okay, I have love, but then true love, when I say, is that it really helps the soul. And whatever you will think for them, you will say for them, or when you speak to them, will definitely, they will feel very supported. But, I still have to, I always believed in the miracles of God, because I think without miracles, we cannot continue. But the word parivar means family, and a Vyakti family. Maybe name itself has some significance, that they have adopted this slogan of never to give up. And I had been meeting different teams, there are a lot of them, and everyone is so happy, so enthusiastic, so willing. So I think that this whole from heart, just have love, because that's what is really binding us together, and we can, offer support. I remember that this whole power of blessing, there is let's say, center, they need some help. So you provide help. And one time I told them that, I think when you should not depend now, you should do on your own, not because we don't want to give, but maybe take this as a blessing, and you see that you become self-sufficient. So they accepted it, that we're not going to take now. And, this whole thought, their consciousness changed. And after that, they keep growing, they keep growing. I believe in this kind of, when I say subtle power or support, where you're not saying no because you don't want to do it, but also you want other side to be more self-sufficient, to be more with power and their progress and everything. And this is actually called power of blessing, in other words, or that's what is needed. And that wherever we are, and if we share blessings, everyone will just go higher and higher. And I think that comes from not only through love, but also when you sharing that with Baba's love. So there's some kind of power there which works very well, and I've been experimenting a lot with that. Like even for Peaceful Age or anywhere, I said, okay, we had been supporting, now you have to be on your own. And not because we don't want to support, yeah, you will always support, but we want you to go further and further. And it's happening. So I think this power of blessing, as you mentioned, is comes from our true heart for everyone, so that we all together can feel our progress. We can feel that we are doing very well. We find that there is success. Baba said success at every step. So I think that definitely this very incognito power of love changes into blessings, and blessings changing into making things progress and move forward. So we have to recognize now more these incognito and subtle powers, so that while world is going through a lot of difficulties, and Baba's children, not just for our personal life, but for service as instrument, everything goes smoothly. If we are able to have this setter energy more and more within myself and also at all the service places.
I really just have one more question and then maybe a request. Some of us, such as myself, are still involved in some way with logic work or other responsibilities. And I've always really loved the idea of integration, this idea of being an angel, incognito. Yeah, there's not the wings and the halo, but Baba's even said that others will have visions or experiences through you if you have that very subtle stage. So integration into my daily life, as some of us go more and more this angel out there on the world stage, and what sort of subtle attention or practices so I can play that part of integration.
I think, Judy, you are doing very well. She has Lokik job, she has center responsibility, plus all our designs, logos within hour, they are here. You are doing very well, but also keep a pure thought that Baba, I'm on your service, and I want to be only for your, I am Sevadhari. I want to be for your service. So gradually you will find that Lokik responsibilities will also keep reducing. And for center responsibility also, there will be bigger team. And so keep a vision for yourself, that this is what I want to be, this is what Baba wants me to be. And you can also see, because of your pure, determined thoughts, one is integration, but other also that you will start becoming lighter and more free from many of the lockic things. That's what I would suggest. Have a very powerful, determined vision. What would you want for yourself, and you will see that will start happening. That's what my good wishes are for you.
That is a blessing. So the last, and it's funny what you were sharing because I know there was always that feeling wanting to do more and more and more and not feeling ever that I can do enough. But what I've liked about this series is that as we become more subtle, any of us can do more and more and more for Baba's task in becoming more subtle, more angelic. So my last question, which is a request, and it does not need to happen now. I know that there are meditations that happen just before we come into sound. You start to share. So maybe it's for that. But Baba has this saying, very few come to know me as I am and what I am. And Baba is the most subtle, subtle, subtle being. And all of us have in our heart that desire to be so close to Baba and to know Baba as he is and what he is. So I was actually hoping you could be a bit of a spiritual guide. And as you go to Baba, you take us with you through a commentary. You can do it now or at some other time, but going into that very, very subtle place to be close to that subtle, subtle being. That was my last request.
I think we all are going towards that direction, becoming more and more subtle and knowing Baba more, remembering Baba more. So I'm sure my good wishes are with your journey, and we will experiment that maybe tomorrow in meditation or but I'm sure that each one of you are coming closer to Baba, and Baba is helping you to stay closer, and I'm sure Baba is giving company to everyone, because it's not only me or I have to do it, but Baba also comes forward. I take one step, Baba comes 10 steps forward. So just keep that 100% trust that even Baba is very subtle, invisible, but he makes himself present, and he himself also wants to stay connected with us. It's just question of experiencing it. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you so much, Didi.
Thank you so much, Sister Judy. That was so beautiful. And you took us all into this subtle, subtle, subtle questions and got the subtle answers from Didi. Thank you once again. And now we will remember Baba